Presidents for Mother were the two Marys. Dad's best man was
And
Jimmy
it said on
Buffett.
autofocus.
And they invited Lowell and he couldn't come, right?
Oh, stop. But then I thought, well, maybe not. Why didn't you
Here's
know that?
the wedding picture with the
He's
cake.
certainly asked enough questions over the years, hasn't he?
Handsome couple there.
Mary, Sister Mary.
Mary Petticrew and Mary.
What is
Waiting here for the people to arrive.
Welcome to the 60th wedding celebration of my parents and your parents. Sally and Dick, different families, Sally and Dick. Anyway, we're at Fort Myers. No, we're not. We're at Myers Park Country Club in the President's Room. Beautiful wallpaper, presidential flair. Did you get the cake really well? Cake?
We could have gone up there. It's the elevator. Where are we going to go? Right in there. Oh my goodness. Right there.
You didn't even speak to me.
I did. Surprise! Happy anniversary to you! Happy anniversary to you! Happy anniversary, dear Dad! Happy anniversary to you!
She kept a good secret, didn't she?
I didn't know a thing about it. Took me by surprise. I took a train to stay in your house. You know, that's where we went last night. We started adding this on your 50th. Yeah, Dave just flew in this morning and was circling. Tell me the story before he said,
You said add these. We almost had the whole thing. Go back to the No, Paul. We need Paul. Well, you guys are down at the other end of the table. Mom, you and your sister are all down at the end of the table.
Wonderful place here, isn't it?
This is the President's Room. It's very fitting that we have honor Mother and Dad on their
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Dad, you're at the head of the table.
I'm doing
You're
good.
at the head of the table. Surprise, surprise, right?
Okay, thank
At the head of the
At the
table
other
there.
end, other end.
Oh my God, better.
And Aunt Mary is the only wedding party that arrived. So we're so glad the wedding party is here. Aunt Mary's representing everybody. Here you go.
I've never been surprised in my life.
How are you? So good. So good to see you.
Here you go.
Okay, go, Dad.
Oh, really?
I'm a little jittery. I don't
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want you to stick with me.
You know what you had for yours? A baby spread and white.
Mary, can I bring this over?
You had, you won't believe this cake.
I want you to see this cake.
I don't see how y'all got away.
Who is that?
Well, Sean said it's Paul.
Great.
Did you look at your Dad, you gotta see. Look at this. Can you see? Do you see Mom's wedding?
No, I can see that.
Well, who is that?
That's
Getting away from your family.
Ruined it. You get up at 5 o'clock this morning and drink coffee and you want to go out for call Liz and let's go at 8 o'clock. Let's go somewhere else.
Let's just go walk around.
The actual article that you Aunt Mary and Aunt Mary, the two were your two, do you remember what color you wore? Rose. And Aunt Mary wore
Green, I think.
blue. That's good, Dad. Blue and green are very similar.
I was hard on our friends out there.
Wow, this is true.
We gotta get you a wedding present.
The assistant coach of football for Toledo University
and had been a beta at Purdue, Fred Stalka.
Right, yeah, he's in there.
Was in the wedding
And he
party.
was killed in the
Fred
War.
was a
Well,
speedster.
never
He
been so
was
surprised in my life.
anchor guy on the relay team. And we had a big guy named Dwayne Purvis that threw the javelin, and he was a big back, all-American back. And one of the plays was the quarterback, Stalkup would get it, toss it back in there, and then he would, no one would be watching him, he'd go with that speed. He was running in 10 seconds or 9.8 or something like that. And then his guy would throw a pass about 60 yards, and no one would be down there.
Who was Dick Morse? He'd been settled in, he was from Indianapolis.
Dick
Morse, he was in your wedding? Dick Morse?
But-
Daniel,
oh,
I'm sorry.
Dan Morse.
Daniel Morse.
No, Dan Morse is still at, he was a beta. His father was president, chairman of the water company, and Dan is still at Marquette Manor.
Jimmy Leffel said this to you.
Yeah. Oh,
Dick and
for
Sally,
goodness
number 60.
You're
Remembering a day, not one of infamy, but one a day to relive history. And he said, I was and still am honored to have been a part of your wedding. Isn't that sweet?
So come on in, Jimmy.
And then Stuart said, well, is the minister here? And I said, well, I couldn't get him. It's a little hard to get in. But 366, West 62nd, Indiana, Washington, D.C., Indiana.
No, we never lived in Kansas.
Sounds like the big
Mary.
Michigan.
No, my father did.
So that's why he...
Mary was born in Kansas,
Oh, okay, you were born in
and
Nebraska.
I was born in
Well,
Nebraska.
so what part of Kansas was she?
And Dan was born in San Francisco. He had a dentist say, isn't that
what he's
wonderful?
doing?
You can always say you were born in California. I mean, they're so
Showing where
proud.
Dad was.
Granddad went.
No, I think it's
Granddad
where
started,
Dad. I think it's where Dad.
lived in Nebraska, then lived in Kansas, then lived in Texas, then in Oklahoma, Missouri.
Dad said, you know, there's an interesting thing I would like to talk to Buck about. I wish Buck was here. At the breakfast table, he goes, you know, my back sort of hurts from being in that one position.
He's already talked about it. He's
Yeah.
wasting his time.
Right, Jeff, you can leave that here.
I wish Buck was here. I looked over at Aunt Mary and she winked. That was so funny.
And they're just driving over it.
Oh, well, go ahead. So when did you ask about the rest of us?
Let's see.
Well, Lou, you already heard
I
Lou's
got
story
Rick, yeah.
about Lou saying,
Well,
well,
Rick
Rick can help you. Mom goes, you mean Paul. I get confused all the time. It's just a sign you're getting older, Lou. Lou goes, well, I guess that's right.
I haven't heard it. That happened this morning when I picked up Mom and Aunt Mary at their place, coming over back to the house. Mom said, well, you know, when are we going to get to the house to see your new house? And I said, well, after golf, or while we're playing golf, Ellen will take everybody down there. And Mom said, well, you know, it'd be good if you were there so you can help Dad walk down the slope. And I said, well, or we'll do it some other time. I said, well, but then, you know, Rick can help him. And Mom said, it's Paul. She goes, it's Paul. She goes, I do that all the time.
I don't know how, I think I thought I always knew these things. Never been so
Who
surprised.
pulled one over on you?
Same thing at...
Yeah, well, I knew about that. And I
10
had-
years ago?
When you stayed in the
I
house.
didn't know that.
That was,
We did 80th
No,
for you,
Mom
and
didn't know the
80th for
Hoppers.
your dad,
And then the 50th.
and then we did Dad's retirement.
Yeah.
Mom didn't know the hobby.
You knew about the
I
retirement.
didn't know about that.
You did not know the Hoppers.
No.
And these guys...
And some of the brothers don't remember them. They don't do a thing on the 17th. I said, well, don't do anything this year. You never remembered it before.
how do you tell them it's dirty laundry?
Well,
We're in the dirty laundry.
Well, I didn't realize the brothers never celebrate their anniversary.
That's why you sort of hinted the other day. Well, you know, we had an anniversary. I got some cards.
I never said where's
You
your
said
card.
no, but you said something like, "Oh, we got some of the nicest
Lou
cards for our
said the
anniversary."
funniest card because he said, you know, it's hard to find a 60th card.
I said an anniversary, huh?
Do you know what the symbol is for 60th?
Diamond.
Diamond. Good job.
Whoa. Get out diamond necklace.
So just to let you know, we did not do that because we figured that's his job to get you one.
Sure, I put up 60 years.
Or you can.
We got some coal.
Well, should we, since we can't be served for a while, we do have a couple things we'd like to do. Should we just go ahead and find a spot and then on with the show?
Oh, sure. Another song.
These are your diamonds, and they're not the real stuff. But these are from the six of us.
Haven't heard about that in our jazz ball.
One of those jazz balls.
It's a rose. It's a rose. And you can open when you're ready because it's for you.
But they are not.
But they're not from us.
Am I supposed to say you shouldn't have done it?
No, you better wait and see it.
Will it?
No, it's 5 minutes from a...
You feel your real feelings. Waterford crystal, you can't beat that. My goodness.
Well, that's just a wrapper.
I had to find some boxes.
It's a nice box.
Don't get carried away.
That's cute. $289. You shouldn't have done it.
You're worth it.
It's only split by 6. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, how beautiful. Oh, look at that. Isn't that
It's a necklace.
It's a paperweight.
It's a diamond paperweight. Well, it's
We're
a
trying to
diamond.
find
It
a
goes to the
setting for
side.
it. It's an earring. There are two of them.
Show Marla start. What's so funny is you're supposed to lay it on its side. No, that looks like a big
It's
hit.
darling. I've never
Well,
seen
pass
it.
it around because I thought it was gorgeous.
Well, I'll save it and give it to one of
Dad
you.
still hasn't opened it.
It's a Rubik's box.
It's a Rubik's box.
It looks like a box.
Did you break it already? Well, you kids should save your money for old age. You should do this for us.
We'll start tonight.
Old age. Oh, how cute.
Are you sure that isn't real?
And a
Mary?
pen. How nice. A pen.
But what you have to do is, it's really a square, so you turn it, and it's a diamond.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Diamonds are forever.
Just bend up.
Don't break it.
Don't break it off. It just bends up. You had it.
It's up. It's up the size of the room.
Don't put your eye out with it.
Are you sure this doesn't bend up or down?
It's just where it's supposed to be. You don't
Just
turn
force it.
That's all right. It's all right.
See, there's the diamond.
It's not at the right angle.
Honey,
Darling.
it stayed a diamond.
And I never knew what 60 stood for. I mean,
Well, not a lot of people get this far.
Dan's been keeping it a secret.
I know. But we had to get here early. And I thought, why does he want us here at 10:30 when the buffet won't be open till 11?
Yeah, Mom wanted to just sit
It's
around.
actually
She wasn't in a hurry at all.
Oh, nice. Big band. Oh my goodness, how wonderful. Our tunes from the
There's
big
more than
band.
60 songs for you.
How wonderful. How do you think of these things?
It's hard to look for diamonds in 60.
We don't need to sing all of them.
No, we're not singing. We're just going to sing their favorite.
That's cute. Oh, that's
Call out some titles.
You know, it is amazing that you're picking this tune. Right now at Clues Hall in Indianapolis, there's a 1 week's performance of a show that I think we would all like. And to the extent that you like the older songs, you like it. There's a young man that has make a dramatic portrayal, has a wonderful voice of Jolson, Al Jolson, and the name of the show is Jolson. And you might remember
Oh, he
back
did.
when
Wonderful
you kids
song.
were in high school, there was Larry Parks that sang, he was Jolson Sings Again was the name of the show, and Al Jolson provided the singing. but Larry Parks was in it. But this is going to be a guy like that who's going to sing all those wonderful songs.
Well, are you still doing your series here? Because it's part of our series. I'll see it in March.
I do.
They're coming. It's a traveling show. I'm saying, and not more. It's still. Well, Stuart, do you want to do your thing?
Oh, no, yeah, it's the video.
Or do you want to wait?
Thanks.
All right. Do you want to pass those around so people
Oh,
can see it? I'm used to a shower where we all pass them around. Pass you those times.
We're at the games here.
Where's the rip?
That's really good.
What?
That little gold bag is really good.
Oh,
Well, we know that in marriage.
She can share as she
I know the 60th is supposed to be diamonds, but diamonds aren't a girl's best friend. Oh, how cute. Oh, my, those look good.
I hope they're 17.
They look like truffle.
16.
I'm not going to pass them around, they won't come back.
That's right.
Don't trust any of you.
That's right. It's fun.
Okay.
That's too much.
I have your attention.
The business that's talking.
This is Memories of a Grateful Nephew. My Indianapolis and Uncle Dick begin with stories of Butler Fieldhouse and Crispus Attucks and a trip to French Lick. There were wonderful times in Lake Worth as well, with the camaraderie of cousins. Lucille and Otley's was swell. Remember those contests on vocabulary and the good book, and how terrified we all were of Uncle Dick's grim look. The greatest impact, however, was made after dinners, when conservatives were cheered and liberals deemed sinners. We relished the outings at Meridian Hills, where golf was the game to test grit and strong wills. Uncle Dick always brought out my best golf I found. That score of 69 is still my best round. We'll never forget the 91 Final Four when Duke's first national championship brought us straight to your door. In spite of all of the ACC basketball trivia I know, Uncle Dick has convinced me none compared to the Big O. We've enjoyed your annual visits as you travel to Naples, none more than today, as we sit at these tables. Aunt Sally and Uncle Dick, you taught us well through triumph and tears. We found no finer role models in the last 60 years.
Oh. Whoever was looking for the line, Stuart did it.
I reserve the right for some responses.
Sure.
As long as they're less than 30 minutes apiece.
Well, or not.
But I well remember that fellow. There was Sally, when they lived on Sharon Road, and old Mac, bless his heart, had an interest in athletics that was personified by Rosie Mary, but they had the basketball goal. I think that was the first basketball goal in our family, I think. But at any rate, Sally and Stuart had a big game there once with Dan and Rick. And I think they probably won. Home court advantage, but that was a lot of fun to see them play. And fundamentally, Stuart is the best golfer in the family. Absolutely.
You went through.
Lou and I played with him once on sort of a picnic.
Pencil Brittany, 60 divided by 6. I'm wrong. No, that's right. 6 is.
Is it your question?
And Ron, you know what we call 10 years together?
Good, you got it.
That's it, decade.
Very good.
And so each of the 6 of us are going to share a representation of this 10 years and tell you a quality of why we think you all could survive 10 years times 6. And Rick?
Well, you're an athlete.
Oh, yeah.
Rick thinks we should have stopped with 1.
That's what I'm going to talk about.
Birth control.
that what you wanted?
It would have been nice, I'm telling you.
He's a big advocate of Planned Parenthood.
This is such a special occasion for me, is just to be back here in beautiful Charlotte and part of the cake. It's such a special honor to be a part of it. I think communications, as much as anything, what has maintained happiness in this family, and it's been a legacy that's been passed down to all of us. This is normally a 50-minute address, but I'm going to try to limit it to 2 minutes here. I go back and remember in my first 10, 15 years, seeing Mom and Dad embrace. They were always talkative. They embraced frequently, openly in front of us kids. A tremendous example. Laying on the couch together, watching TV, watching the hit parade. Giselle McKenzie, whose mother never was bothered with the fact that Dad found her very attractive.
Come on in, Giselle.
Giselle doesn't look as good as you. I promise you that. Watching the Ed Sullivan Show on Sunday nights with them on the couch. I mean, there was a communication there that was terrific.
You had to sit on the floor.
And this evolved into eventually into the midnight conversations, which we're all familiar with, which would always start out with tick, 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 tick. And
I wouldn't say it.
I know, it would awaken you. It would awaken you for conversation. And you could hear them in there discussing the world's problems. And Mother always said, Rick, the only thing we ever have problems with is just worried about you kids. And no other problems. And they kept all their communications behind closed doors. I went off, got married, and I couldn't believe it. You know, we were having some disagreements. I said, I never saw my mom and dad argue or fight. It's because they kept it in the bedroom. But the ultimate compliment, which follows through from what I feel was extremely effective communications between man and wife, was the compliment that Dad paid Mom at a college life conference. I think it might have been up in Canada when Dan and I drove back from Maniar, Richmond, when he said he attributed much of his success in the business world to Mom. Behind every successful man, there's a great woman. On the other hand, Mom frequently, more often than we would ever want to count, would always tell us how lucky we are to have our dad.
Very nice. Thank you, Dick. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. All these lovely roses.
Someone's going to be sick. You got to wait another 10 years to get that stuff.
I don't know if I can take those two with me. They do.
That's why we're keeping the water. We're keeping the water thing on there.
We just rented them for the day.
This photographer is throwing our budget out of whack. We're just going to return these.
Well, as we all know, we're gathered here to honor Mom and Dad in their 60th wedding anniversary. We all know that. And we all know that there are many characteristics and traits and interests that it takes to have a happy marriage that can persevere for over 60 years. And we all know that humor is one of those traits and characteristics that helps in a happy marriage. Because of this occasion, I have done some research going back on some of the stories that have gone on in their past that they continue to tell. That's one of them. Some of you may not have heard about the origin of some of these stories, so I've done some research for this special occasion, and I want to pass this on to you. We know that on December 17, 1938, Mom and Dad were married in Toledo, Ohio. It was driving on their honeymoon that Dad was backing up the car and asked Mom if there was anything behind. And she said, nothing but a dog. And so he backed up slowly, and they got hit by a Greyhound bus. Then, a couple days later, on a stop as they were driving through Arkansas, Dad has to go to the restroom. He goes to the back where the room is, the outhouse is, and someone's in there, and he says, "Are you done?" The man inside says, "Yes." Dad said, "Well, why don't you write your mother?"
These are all punchlines to jokes.
Mechanics may not get some of these. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've heard them. And Mary's heard all these. More than once.
Then it was after the big war, WW2, that Dad started selling life insurance for Lincoln National. There he met Salesman Sam. And it was living in Michigan at Horseshoe Lake that Mom and Dad met their neighbor, the man with a big nose and the lady with wooden eyes. And it was in the 50s, in Dad's travels, that he met this bartender who asked, "Are you mocking me?" That's a good story. And finally, at sales meetings, jokes were told so often that they had numbers. And it was then that Dad became famous for telling number 43. Someday I hope I can tell the joke as good as he can.
About communication first, but that's only because I was there in August. Mother and Dad got in the hospital bed together, okay? Is Dad still in that hospital bed? Yeah. He says, "Come on in here, Sally." Of course, I had to stay in the room another half hour or so because I didn't want to go out in the hall. But I think it's wonderful. They still cuddle up together. Planning is something that I have always enjoyed doing. I get both from my dad, I get a lot of ability to do it, as well as from Mother. When Mother was pregnant and people would say, "Sally, are you pregnant again? Did you plan this?" She'd say, "Certainly. After you find out you're pregnant, you plan." And so she has always been a good planner, even if it were after the fact. And so I attribute their success to a lot of planning and a lot of following through of the good plans.
Thank you, dear.
Are you done?
Go for the quality.
Granddad told me. Oh, my. Oh, these are so beautiful. Dad, you ever sent me red roses for a long time.
Well, that's what we're doing. He's supposed to get the diamond for you.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you, you did something else.
We'll find room here. These middle children kind of get lost. Is there another face? Is there another face?
Where's the new base? Have Bill bring it in.
You do what?
Be a little extemporaneous here. At each of the weddings, I think most of us, and maybe at Stuart and Sally's wedding too, I think we had read the 1 Corinthians 13 that, though I speak with the tongue of men and angels and have not love, I am nothing. I'm a noisy gong, sounding cymbal. If you don't have love, it's nothing. And I think the same thing is true of emotion, feelings. And Rick was talking about how Mom and Dad, in the middle of the night, you'll hear them talking to each other, or it just never stops. And they share each other's feelings. I saw Mom leave the dinner table. I remember crying, and they yell at each other. Love and hate are close together. But it's emotion, it's passion, it's feelings. And it doesn't matter. And I remember some fights. I don't know where it must have been a few fights. I was sure. What's wrong with fights? If you don't fight, you don't care. You don't express emotion. It's part of living
See, I
here.
told you it's all right.
He's the culprit. I mean, we all know Stuart was talking about that stern look from Dad. I mean, and he raised his voice, and some of the things he did, raising us, he didn't spare the rod, and I don't think any of us are really spoiled, but you did a marvelous job raising us. But you have this passion for each other, and I saw it during my college years. I drove down to Florida a couple spring breaks, and I got to spend a couple nights with Dan and Eunice McDermott at their house, and I slept out on the porch, and I could hear right through their screen door there, and they would talk at night, and
The McDermott thing.
Is that when they talk about Aunt Mary?
Hold it down in there.
Talking about just things that went on during the day, how they're feeling, and then when I went down for my internship in Houston, I stopped by Jackson, Mississippi, and spent the night with Gladys and Granddad during his last few days, and he was getting cantankerous as heck with his cancer that was metastasizing, but still Gladys was in there and changing his clothing bag, and at night they would talk, and Mom had told me growing up that it was like I had to pay $1 for every time I talked. I just didn't talk. I didn't show emotion. She would tell me, you have to show your emotions. And it's taken a toll, to be quite honest, with my marriage with Cheryl. And I'm going to make it a better marriage. We've only been married 22 years, which is longer than some of you feel like. I'm looking forward to another, hopefully 22, since she put up with me for these what I call emotionless 22 years, because I haven't shared feelings. There's a lot of things I haven't done. I'm learning more about myself through a process I'm going through now, and it's a beautiful process. And but Mom has told me you need to learn. She's told me over and over, I don't think you share with Cheryl. I don't think you talk with her.
Well, Mary would tell me. Mary talked all the time, and then you were next, and you just didn't tell me what girls were pregnant at school or stuff like that, but Mary would tell me.
As long as it wasn't me, it was okay.
What school were you going to? I couldn't even find the date. I was afraid to move. I thought we went to the same high school.
And we shared with Mary last night, since we were all together, and Mary, Rick, and I talked at length, and Mary thinks maybe it was because she was a little bit domineering, and I was a couple years, you haven't noticed that today, right?
Marlon's here now. Don't forget our photographer.
But I could have been at the dinner tables. I didn't feel a need to express myself, but I do know I kept a lot of feelings in. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I want to share, and I hope it's not too late. And I hope I've only lived half my life. And I'm looking forward to the second half. I think it's going to be better. But the feelings, emotions that you two have shared is an inspiration. And I know, and it's part of love. If you don't have love, you are nothing, according to the Bible. And it is true, and I thank you for showing me what love is all about.
This is a supper, you say? Thank you, dear.
Number 5. There are a lot of traits we're all talking about today, and really, Mary came up with the idea, and I thought it was a great idea, but you can't spend, we could spend obviously weeks talking about, and books have been written on how you have a successful marriage. Well, you all have done it. So now the facts are you've been able to accomplish it, and what we're doing is from our individual perceptions is giving characteristics, not the totality, but characteristics that have led to your successful marriage, and it's something that you have beaten all the odds. 50% of all marriages end up in a divorce, and but you've been able to keep it together through good times and bad times. And I think as we go through the different characteristics that are brought out today, 6 of them, I think they'll all be instrumental as being part of it. And as Buck said, you serve as an inspiration to all of us. But I think in just looking to try to stand back and look at perhaps one of the major, if not the biggest reason I think that I have that you all have stayed together is something that is stronger than the marriage itself, and that is both of your devotions to God and the foundation that both of you have, your roots in religion. I think a lot's been said about you've got some people that talk too much of religion and they push religion on other people and religion, especially recently, the conservative right. Religious leaders and political spectrum have sort of taken a bad rap, and I think you both would certainly identify with the religious right, but I maintain that it's that religious, the faith that you both have had, not only in each other but in God, that has gotten you through the tough times, and we all face tough times in our lives and face tough times in our marriage. And I'm not saying that you couldn't have made it this far had you not had religion, but I think the chances were tremendously increased. And as I look back, I know the things not only of, I thought you were doing it for us as far as making sure we went to Sunday school every week, and even when we'd go on vacations or go to Florida, we'd still go to church on Sunday. Dad would find a different church we'd stop at or whatever, and we all took pride in the fact that we came away from Fairview Presbyterian Church and we all got our attendance pins. We all got the attendance award because all of the 6 kids went through their 12 years of Sunday school with a perfect attendance, because we qualified even when we were on vacation. We'd go to church whether we were driving down through Florida or whatever. But then as I got older, I realized that it wasn't something you were just doing for the kids, but Mom has inspirational books. And Dad has been so active in really the politics of the Presbyterian religion. But some of you may not know, Mom served as a deacon for several years and an elder with the church, with Fairview Presbyterian Church, and has been tremendously active in serving and giving of her time with the Boys and Girls Club. And Dad, of course, had us all memorizing Psalms and encouraging us even after. Hands up.
Beautiful. Yes, they're all in those cute little things at home. Okay.
And the one reason this is extemporaneous for me, we agreed last night that I would do humor. Dan wasn't here, so actually the whole reason behind 60 years has to stem to great health. And Mom and Dad, Mom a great swimmer, Dad basketball, baseball, squash, all-state, or won the state champion squash, and has always instilled in us athleticism and good health, good habits. And I was checking my watch. After Paul's speech, we could catch the service still. Get to the church in time for the sermon. But so much of it has been good health. I'll never forget shooting baskets in the back with high school guys. Paul had friends over. Dad would come home from work. He'd say, "All right, y'all put 25 cents down on the line here. We're going to shoot from the crack." All right, I'll go ahead and take my jacket off. Doggone if he didn't normally walk away with the money. And he'd been working all day. He never ate much lunch. He'd have a pack of crackers, and then he'd come home, and Art Fisher and Paul and just a bunch of guys. We'd be out there shooting hoops, and Dad would come in and put that old set shot up there and just take all our money. And so I think just being good sports and the team spirit. We all saw Mom hold out 8-iron at Royal Montana a couple years ago for Eagle. And I think that there's a lot to be said for being great sports and good athletes. That everybody knows everything does turn full circle because everybody remembers walking with Dad. You know, Dad,
Run
like this.
Oh, it's what's the name?
Hold on your arm like this. We gotta go. And all that habit walking, you know, keeps the cardiovascular system going. So I think a lot of it is just being a good sport and good health and athletics.
Very good. One final thing. And when we got inquiries presently, and there's a reason why, all 6 of us have lousy voices, but we're going to sing again for Mother and Dad, so come on, guys.
And I don't know if we want this tape.
People say that love is hard to get,
but our parents haven't had love and work and church and home.
The mind's not weak and the bodies are strong.
They had 60 years, and what do you have? Another day older and deeper in love. St. Peter, don't you call them, because they can't go. They owe their souls to the 6 of us. In the holiday spirit, Silver Bells.
There has lasted 60 years. 60 years. 60 years. How many more will it last?
And then one of Mother's favorite songs, Hello, Dolly. Ready?
Hello, parents. Hello, parents. It's so nice to have you here with us today. You're looking swell, parents. We can tell, parents. You're still flowing, you're still growing. It's been 60 years. We feel the room swaying for the band's playing. Mother goes where it's awesome way back when. So take your wife, Dad. Find her empty lap, Dad. This day celebrate your 60 years. Find a girl just like the girl that married dear old Dad. She was the girl and the only girl that Daddy ever had. One who loved nobody else but you. Doesn't have nobody else but you. Oh, I want a girl just like the girl that married dear old Dad. He's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. That nobody can deny, that nobody can deny, that nobody can deny. For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow.